going to apply the finish coat on this egg form, rock egg form that I started working on last time. So before I do that, at this point now, it has a fiber coat on here. The base coat will not have any fiber in it. In order to get the second coat, the secondary coat I'm going to apply now to bond to the first one, I have to mix, which I've already done, some of the this bonding chemical that you can get at a hardware store, Home Depot or Lowe's. It's a concrete bonding adhesive. So I mixed some of that 2 to 1, 1 part of bonder, 2 parts water in this water bottle here. Now what I have to do now is spray this. I have to spray the form. If I want to bond to it, it works. You get a stronger bond if you spray it down. If you don't have this, you can use water, but I already did mix some of the bonder into my concrete mix that I'm applying on here. So I'm just misting the upper facets of this here that I'm going to coat right now. That's plenty. There's some of the bonding chemical mixed into my wet cement mix, which I mixed a couple minutes ago. So, and that's in here. I'm going to use the trowel and apply it on. And then once I apply it onto there, I'm going to use another, this is a texturing tool. It's just a little piece of plastic that I'm going to take and press into this secondary coat. So the first coat was to give it strength, and it's roughly a ½ inch thick. The second coat's going to be much thinner, between 1/8 or 1/4 inches thick. And I just apply it on there with the trowel. And I'm doing this relatively quick here. It has to be thick enough so when I press the tool into it, I get an impression. I'm just continuing to apply on these surfaces here. About 1/4 to somewhere between 1/4 and 1/8 inch thick. I don't want it to be too much because it's going to add more weight, but I want it thick enough that when I take my tool, it's going to take a while to do this, so we're not going to show you every bit of the application process, but trying to get it somewhat smooth here. So this goes on a lot easier now because there's no fiber in it, and it's a lot faster to mix because I don't have to mix any fiber into it either. Can't see that side so good, but I'm trying to make sure you can see what I'm doing. It's probably smooth enough for what I need. The tricky area is in here. Set that tool down. There's this inner edge here, which actually, since last time in a different video, I cut out these. The reason I did that is I wanted to have enough negative space, enough open interior openings in the form, so you can kind of see through the form and in the form. Okay, I'm applying the texture now. I'm just pushing into the cement, and this is my own personal texture choice here. I mean, you could do it with, you know, any kind of tool that would make an impression when you press it in can be used. I'm going for kind of an organic, loose look here, so I want it to be, you know, somewhat expressive, and so just pressing in and pulling back. This is, like I said again, my personal choice of mark here. Just trying to add some more, make the surface of the cement more interesting. The first coat was just the strength layer, just a layer to add strength and to build up the form. Now it's the final coat and putting a final texture in the surface, which is what people will see. There's fiberglass on the first coat, and this coat there's no fiber. Just changing surfaces as I go here, continuing to apply texture. It's about, like I said, in between an eighth, it's about an 1/8 inch thick. I want it to have enough to make a nice mark when I do this. So I think, is that all the facets that I have so far? Yeah, so that's all 4 sides that I've coated so far. So now I got to go and turn the form to another side, which I'll do right now. So I've turned the form now, and I'm just making sure I have enough spray on here. I've already sprayed it several times. I'm getting the other sides now that I'm going to apply the finish coat to. Doing the same thing. So once I have them coated now, my cement that I mixed is still soft enough. It's starting to set up a little bit. Hopefully, let me see if it's wet enough to apply, or how much longer I can use it. I mixed maybe a little more than I needed, but we'll see. Actually, it's going on fine. So I'm just applying again. An 1/8 and 1/4 inch thick. And then once I have it coated again, I'll start stamping the texture in the surfaces that I've applied the material onto. I've got to coat about 4 surfaces again here. If you're in direct sunlight, it'll dry faster, so I'm purposely not in direct sunlight. I'm in shade where I'm working. If you're either inside or in shade, it'll give you more time. Otherwise, the sun will really dry out the cement quickly. Occasionally I'm dipping the tool in water, just if it seems to be sticking too much. It's tricky when you get to an edge where you just finish the surface. You got to be kind of careful, because I don't want to mess up what I just did. So I finished texturing this one. It's got the second coat of cement coating over it now. This video is the final video in a sequence of videos where I walked you all the way through mixing the dry mix into mixing a fiber cement mix, which was used to make this original form over the styrofoam underneath. And then now I finished off with the final coating, which I embossed, which I pressed texture into. So that's how you go about making this here. This is really kind of a basic, simple form that I was able to demonstrate relatively quickly. You know, took several hours nonetheless on the entire processes that I go through.